In this video, we will discuss stream reduce operation. Reduce is the repeated process of combining all elements. It takes an input of elements and combines them into a single result by repeated application of a combining operation, for example, sum, multiplication, and division of elements. And what here means by repeated application of a combining operation is, for example, you have a stream of elements and it's a repeated application of combining, like for example, every element is added to the other element or multiply with the other elements or divide with the other elements. So it's a repeated application of a combining operation. Methods. There are two methods. First one takes identity and binary operator as the argument and then produces a result. And the other one is only takes the binary operator as an argument and produces optional. We'll be discussing about optional in details in future, but for the time being, just think of optional is a container object which may or may not contain a non-value. Now let's look into the example of reduce in IntelliJ. So let's create a new class, new, and then Java class, and the class name is stream reduce example. And create a public static void main. So inside public static void main, what we'll be doing is that we'll be creating a list of integers. So it is an integer list. Numbers is equal to arrays dot as list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And now we'll be running a reduce operation on this list of numbers. So integer results, because reduce operation give us the one result. So integer result, in this case we'll be adding all those numbers and then calculating the sum of all those numbers, and that number will be provided in the results. So is equal to numbers dot stream, and afterwards dot reduce. So what we'll be doing in the first one is we'll be looking at the reduce integer identity and binary operator. So we'll be using this method first, and then afterwards I'll be showing an example of the other method where it returns optional. So click on this one, and here, so we are calculating sum. So let's put 0 over here as the identity operator, and then our lambda expression a, b, and it results in a plus b. And now print out results. Now let's run this example. So you can see that it printed out 45, which is the result of sum of all the numbers from 1 till 9. Now let's see what's happening over here. So we'll go through we'll go through this whole element list, and then we'll write down what's happening inside. So let's look at the first element. So once we have 1, what this identity operator does is that it basically returns the first operation, because it requires two operand a and b. So when the list the first element comes in, then we need the second element also. So when the first element is here, we don't have the second element. So in this case, this identity operator acts as the second element. So what it will do is that first it will calculate the sum of 0 and 1 and will return 1. Now this identity operator or the result will hold the value of 1. So it will be adding 1 plus 2 is equal to 3. Now the sum is 3. So 3 plus 3 is equal to 6, and 4, and then 6 plus 4 is equal to 10, and 10 plus 5 is equal to 15, and 15 plus 6 is equal to 21. 21 plus 7 is equal to 28, and 28 plus 8 is equal to 36, and the final one is 36 plus 9 is equal to 45. So that's how we get the result of 45. So that's why the identity operator is provided as 0. Now let's look at multiplication. So here we have integer results 1 is equal to numbers dot string dot reduce, and while we are doing the multiplication, what we'll do is that our identity operator will be 1, because I'll explain it. A multiplied by B, and let's print out result 1. Now let's run this example. So here you can see that result is 362880. Now why we provided identity operator as 1? Because if we have provided 0, then the whole result set will be 0. For example, here 1 multiplied by 1 is equal to 1. The second is 1 multiplied by 2 is equal to 2, and this loop will continue on. Now if we have provided a value of 0, then it will be 0 multiplied by 1 is equal to 0, and now 2 or 0 multiplied by 2 will be equal to 0. So let's change this to 0 and then verify this. So you can see that it printed out 0. So that is the purpose of the identity operator, because it is acting on two operands, and in the case of first one we don't have the second operand to operate on, and that is what needed for the identity operator to be. So in this case, now let's look at the second method. The second method basically does not take the identity operator. You don't have to provide the identity operator with the second method. So in this case, let's see integer result 3 or 2 is equal to numbers dot string dot reduce, and here it will be just taking a binary operator accumulator. So here we'll be doing A plus B, or AB, and then A plus B. Now it is giving me error because it returns optional instead of integer. And what optional does is it can have value, it cannot have a value. So you can define optional result 2 and then the error is gone. Now let's say in this case we remove the numbers, and let's run this example again, and then also we print out system.out.println result 2, and use a separator over here so that we know that it is running the optional. So here we got 0 because the result will be 0. There is no other operand because the list is empty, so it will return 0, and multiplication will also return 0. Now here we get optional dot empty because we are printing out optional. So here it will get the result will be optional dot empty. Now in order to get the value from optional to a concrete value, then you put get. So now let's run this. So now it is throwing an exception. It is saying that java.util.no such element exception, no value present. So in order to get rid of this exception, what we will do is that we will first check if the optional contain value, and optional provides methods to do that. So if results 2 dot is present, then print out system.out.println result2 dot get. Now let's run this. And you can see that error is gone. Now let's put our elements back. And then run this example again. So you can see that the first one is 45, printed out. Second one is multiplication, because we have identity operator as 0, that's why it is printing 0. Now let's change this back to 1. And the third is also third is a binary operator without any identity. So but it is returning optional. And here we are checking if result2 dot is present, and to get values from the option you have to use result2 dot get.